Joining me now is Skip Rutherford. He is the Dean of the University of Arkansas Clinton School of Public Service. We are glad to have him with us. Skip, let's begin with you announced this past week that you'll be retiring at the end of June of next year. Why is it time for you to step down?
Well, Roby, thanks for having me. The Clinton School is the nation's first to offer a Master of Public Service degree and the world's first to offer an online Master of Public Service degree. I've had the opportunity to serve as Dean for 14 years, and by the time I retire in June of 2021, it'll be 15 years. Higher education is always a work in progress. And while we have accomplished a great deal at the Clinton School, and I'm really proud of the great work of our faculty and staff and students, the impact we've had in the community, and I think the nation's best speaker series, there's always time for new ideas, new infusions, and new directions. And so I hope the next dean will continue to build on what I built on from founding Dean David Pryor. So it's been a great run, it's been a great ride, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Well, I want to circle back to that topic in a little bit here, but first of all, let's talk about what you think has been accomplished in your years at the Clinton School. What do you point to as some of the highlights and achievements?
Robbie, the unique academic program at the Clinton School is project-based learning. It is a new academic model. It differs from more traditional programs in public affairs and public administration, public policy. And the difference is that during the course of 2 years of study, students perform 3 major projects for academic credit in the field. That makes it unique. And over these 14 years, we've performed over 1,100 projects that have had immediate, short-term, and long-term impact. You look at the Delta Visual Arts Festival in Newport, you look at the Boys and Girls Club in Helena, you look at the greenhouse at the Little Rock Children's Library. There are just so many different things that our students have been a part of making a great success story.
Well, the pandemic has certainly been a challenge. How has it altered these last months and the next few months in terms of how teaching is going on?
Well, I think the pandemic is going to change higher education forever. I think it's going to change the delivery of higher education. What I've seen and what we've been fortunate, I must say that our faculty and staff have just been excellent in terms of making adjustments and making the pivots. We were lucky and fortunate, Roby, in the fact that we had started an online program in 2018. So when we had to shift to remote learning, we were able to do that. Fortunately, that has been a real asset for us. What I see down the road is that more and more students are getting more and more comfortable with remote learning. And you're seeing even this year where people who signed up for in-class work are now opting for remote lessons. So I think what we're going to see is higher education having to be more nimble, more flexible, and hopefully the Clinton School can be used as a national example for doing that.
All right, so coming back to that topic we talked about earlier, what do you think the school will be looking for in a new dean? Is it going to be youth, direction, something else?
Robbie, I really have no idea, and I'm going to stay completely out of that. That will be Dr. Don Bobbitt's call. But if I were guessing, I think one of the things that I think I could have done better and would be to elevate our academics to a higher national role. I think we've done very well in our project-based learning. I think we've done very well in the speaker series. I think we've done very well in managing our resources. We've not had any layoffs. We've not had any deficits. We don't have any long-term debt. But project-based learning is a new academic model in the scheme of overall higher education. And my guess, we need to take the academics to a higher level that solidifies the school's national presence.
All right, let's take a quick commercial break and come back and talk some presidential politics. Will you stick around, Skip?
You bet.
All right, we're back with Skip Rutherford, Dean of the Clinton School of Public Service, right after this. And we're back with Skip Rutherford, Dean of the Clinton School of Public Service. Skip, we've got a presidential election coming up. The electoral map at this time favors Joe Biden. Certainly a number of paths to victory for both Biden and President Donald Trump. What are the key states that you're watching?
Robbie, I'm reminded of a Politico headline in September of 2016, which said something to the effect, Hillary Clinton's advisors tell her to prepare for a landslide. And we saw that certainly didn't happen. This 2020 election, in many ways, is similar to the 2016 election, except Donald Trump is the incumbent. Hillary Clinton, although not president, was basically the incumbent in 2016. What I see are really basically many of the same states in play. Of the 10 or 11 states, I think 3 states that belonged to Hillary Clinton last time are states that President Trump's trying to get. That's Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Nevada. But I think on the flip side of that, there are much more Trump states that are in play, including the big 3, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. But you add Florida to that, which is very much a toss-up. You add North Carolina to that, which is very much a toss-up. Arizona looks like it's leaning blue. You throw Iowa in the mix, getting to be a toss-up. Ohio may well end up being a toss-up. And for the first time in many years, Texas is in play. Now, I still think President Trump's going to carry Texas, but President Trump's going to have to defend a lot more states in 2020, which probably at this stage does give Vice President Biden the edge, but it's way too early to call. It's way too early to predict. And I think we're going to have a long election night.
All right, Skip, when you look at polling data, there's a lot of it out there. What are you seeing that to you suggests some trends to watch in this cycle?
Well, you've got to watch suburban women because the suburban women in 2018, largely because of the coronavirus issue and healthcare matters in preserving the Affordable Care Act, shifted from R to D, and that was the midterms. So you got to watch suburban women. You're seeing the president do a law and order campaign, which is changing sort of the soccer moms of the past to the security moms of 2020. But when you look at the polling, coronavirus still dominates. It's still the number one issue. 200,000 approximately have died. Arkansas has gone over the 1,000 mark. Our infection rates in the state are still high. So it's the dominating issue, and people are concerned about the long-term effects. We're going to see what fall brings, and we've already seen this sort of surge on residential college campuses. But coronavirus followed by the economy are probably going to be your top 2 issues.
Well, we've seen what I will call, challenges for this election cycle, particularly a president that's already describing this election as rigged if it doesn't go in his favor. There's conspiracy theories, disinformation campaigns, foreign and domestic, but elections are local. How confident are you that we'll have a fair election?
I look at the states that have been doing mail-in balloting for years. I look at the states that have conducted voting, and for the most part, those states have done very, very well. Now, we have seen in cases like Florida in the Bush-Gore election and others where there have been some very contested issues. But my hope is that people will put democracy first, and this election will go off as well as it could be. The challenge in this election is because many of the ballots may not be counted by Election Day. So therefore, we may not know the results, for example, in the state of Pennsylvania, which is a key state, until well after Election Day.
Well, we've certainly been through that before with Florida. You're leading a class of students through the Electoral College process. What is their temperature? What do they think is going to happen?
Well, the first time I asked them their Electoral College predictions, they predicted Trump would win. The second time I asked them, they predicted Biden would win. So I'll be ready to ask them a third time. One of the assignments is to pick, for each of the students to pick the Electoral College the week before the election. They're all over the board. I mean, they are, like anybody else, looking very carefully. Each student has a particular state. And so those that are in these really toss-up states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Florida, North Carolina, Arizona, they're really following it very, very closely. And again, every week is a little different based on the new polls and the new intelligence they get.
Always good to be with you. Skip Rutherford, Dean of the Clinton School of Public Service. Thank you and congratulations again on your future retirement. I have no doubt you'll be still doing something. Maybe Skip Rutherford for governor in 2022.
Let's do not start that. I am not a candidate for governor. I'm not a candidate for anything. I follow the Lyndon Johnson model. I will not run. I will not accept. I will not serve. I'm looking forward to the future. But Roby, I want to be honest. My big assignment right now is to get the Clinton School through this pandemic in winter.
All right, a good mission. Thank you very much, Skip.
Thank you.
And that is all for this edition of Talk Business and Politics. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you next time.